short message today is going to begin with a quote from Ernest Hemingway. This comes to us from page 139 of On Writing, in which he said, "You must be prepared to work always without applause." You must be prepared to work always without applause. It's very tempting because of how easy metrics are to let ourselves be guided by what's getting likes, what's getting retweets and shares, what's getting posted by others, what's getting acknowledged, what's getting recognized and understood by others. But that's almost always going to lead us to very, very short-term solutions. Probably to dead ends. We wind up chasing what someone else wanted, what others would have built. And it's the same sort of thing that arises if we stop making something according to our own vision, but instead try to look out to what vision do others want made. And that's an okay thing to do. But I think it's important we don't fool ourselves into thinking that that's the same thing if the message that's being delivered is the message that most people want to hear. A couple things about that. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's your message. Frankly, it means it's theirs. And it may not mean it's the message that they need to hear. It may not mean that it's authentic. It may not mean it's coming from anywhere. It might be giving people what they think they want instead of what they want. There's a lot of things about life and about business that make those easier to do. But in the long run, it catches up to you. Simple example of this sort of thing is if we look at exercise products. And there's a lot of exercise products that sell well because they seem to make it easy to do something somebody thinks they want to do. But they don't really care about the person's results. They care about making the sale. They just care about them having the thing. And in the near term, that might be successful because people see it and they think, you know what? I do wish sit-ups were easier to do. You know what? My problem is push-ups aren't easy enough to do. They'll buy a thing. They realize that when they use it, kind of doesn't really do anything for them. Doesn't help them do what they need to do. But they made the sale. But how many of those people are actually going to tell their friends, this worked for me? How many of those people are ever going to see themselves getting fit from it, feeling pride in that choice, recommending it to others? And so in the long run, that becomes one more fad that gets left behind to time. Of it worked only long enough to fool people. But it didn't persist because it didn't work. And so in the long run, if your actual objective is to help people, which I think so often one of the things we can do to distinguish what's a business with integrity from one that isn't, is one that says it's interested in the customer's results more so than its own. It's about what's going to be in the best interest of the people it's there to help, rather than thinking that the people it's there to help are themselves as the business. And so in the long run, it's going to come down to doing what works, getting results for people, letting them share it with others, be able to share their stories, and then from that, you can build a real foundation. And even if at first it's not as easy because people don't recognize that as the thing that works, because even if at first people don't immediately understand it because it's not what they look like, it's not what they thought they were looking for, they don't even know what it is at first. They'll find out eventually when they see it working for other people. They'll find out eventually when it's gotten results for everyone who's used it. But that's harder. It takes time. And the only way to see yourself through that difficult time, through that period of challenge in which you're not getting applause, goes back to this Ernest Hemingway line of, you must be prepared to work always without applause. It may not come tomorrow. It may not come a week from now. It may not come a month from now. It may not come a year from now. It may not come maybe ever. It doesn't necessarily mean it's the wrong work to be doing. And conversely, just because what you're doing is getting applause, we see a lot of this garbage on television, see a lot of this garbage on social media. Just because what you're doing is getting applause does not mean what you're doing is adding value, is right, is good, is helping anyone. It means something different. But as social creatures, we're inclined to trust that feedback. And because technology has given us visibility into these metrics, we're inclined to carefully hone our behaviors, to A/B test our way through the world, to give up our own vision in favor of, well, one day at a time. I'm going to ask the world what it wants. I'm going to do that. You can have a vision. You can drive for it. You can do the work to figure out how to get it done right. And it may not come with applause, but it's still worth doing.